Bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-da-dum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum.
Welcome to Everyday Musicality, the podcast in which we discuss all things related to Gordon's music learning theory and how it can help unlock the inner musician that lives inside of all of us. I'm your host, Heather Shouldice, music educator and faculty member for the Gordon Institute for Music Learning. In this episode, we're going to do some musicianship skill building, including some improvising. Hello and welcome to the Everyday Musicality podcast. In the last episode, I talked about the importance of improvisation, how creating and improvising give students the power to make their own music and be truly musically independent. In today's episode, we're going to go through some skill-building activities that can help build the musicianship necessary to create and improvise, both for our students and for ourselves. Before we jump into that, just a reminder about our latest giveaway from sponsor GIA Publications. You can enter to win a free copy of the book and CD set called Developing Musicianship Through Improvisation. I'll be talking more about what's in this resource in the next episode, but if you know you'd like to enter, keep listening until the end of the episode when I'll remind you how. Now, let's get right into some musicking. We're going to learn a little tune, start playing around with some patterns, and we'll learn the bass line to the tune as well. I'll also be pausing along the way to give some explanations and tips for teaching these skills to your students. So let's start with learning a tune. I'm going to take you through a process for teaching a tune by rote that's used by many MLT practitioners. As you'll see, it's basically just a way to expose the students to a new tune a bunch of times and help them start audiating the tune tonally and rhythmically so that when you ask them to sing the tune at the end of the process, they're ready to sing it. I'm going to model that process for you right now as if you were students. Hello, class. I've got a brand new song for you to learn today. In a few minutes, I'm going to ask you to try singing the song, so make sure you're listening carefully. Your first job is just going to be to listen while I sing the song. Here's how it goes. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Your next job is going to be to remember this pitch. Bum, that's the resting tone. You try singing the resting tone. Bum, good. Now you're going to remember that resting tone. Bum, and whenever my song pauses and you hear me give that breath, bum, you're going to sing that resting tone. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, bum. Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum ba dum bum ya da 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 dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum ba dum. Good. Next, your job is going to be to move to the microbeats of my song. So you're going to take out your fingers and you're going to tap those microbeats either on your shoulders or on your lap. So your tapping should be ch 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 ch. Keep that going. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Next, your job is going to be to sway to the macro beat side to side. Ch ch. Keep that going. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Next, you're going to sway to the macro beat. Ch ch. And add the micro beats in your hands. Ch 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 ch. Keep it going. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum ba-dum. Next, your job is going to be to sing that song silently in your head. So I'm going to give you a little cue. Bum, bum, bum. Think it in your head. Ya-da-da-da-dum-bum. And you'll start singing that song in your head. Again, the whole song goes ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Now your job is to sing that song silently in your head and raise your hand when you're done. Close your eyes. Bum, bum, bum. Sing it in your head. All right, and now it's your turn to sing the whole song without my help. Bum, bum, bum. Ready, sing. And hopefully at that point, the students would be able to sing the song with a reasonable level of success. Now let's talk through this process. As I said, the series of steps is just basically a way to trick the students into hearing the song a bunch of times in quick succession and to start audiating the song tonally and rhythmically so that by the time you get to the end of the process, they're ready to sing it. The first step is just to model singing the song so that students can hear it in its entirety. In order to get the students a bit more actively involved, I like to ask them to move with flow while I model the song for the first step. The second step is to model singing the resting tone, the tonal center, for students, and to ask them to audiate that pitch and sing it whenever you pause during the song and cue them by giving a gesture and breath. This is going to help them start audiating the song tonally. The third step is to model moving to the macro beat or the micro beat and ask students to copy your movement as they listen to you sing the song. You can start with either beat level. Often I like to start with the micro beat because that tends to be what students audiate more easily at first since there's less space between the micro beats to have to internalize. Next, move to the other beat level while you sing the song. So after students move to the micro beats with me while I sing the song, I model moving to the macro beats and invite students to move with me as they listen to the song again. Now, you'll want to make sure that the movements you're using for the macro beat and micro beat are movements you can do simultaneously. And that's because the fifth step is to move to both the macro beats and the micro beats at the same time. So most often I have the students sway their bodies side to side for the macro beats and tap micro beats on their laps or their shoulders, but you could get creative and substitute other movements if your students were getting bored or needed a challenge. After you have the students move to the macro beats and micro beats simultaneously while they listen to the song, the next step is to tell them their job is to sing the song silently in their heads with their eyes closed. When they're done audiating, they should give some kind of silent signal like raising their hand or giving a thumbs up, and that lets you know whether they were all able to audiate the song consistently in the appropriate tempo and meter. If all the students' hands go up around the same time, that's a pretty good sign that they've internalized the song and they're ready to sing it. If instead you see hands all going up at random different times, then they probably aren't ready to sing the song yet. So you'll want to try to find a few ways to let them hear the song a few more times before you ask them to sing it. Finally, the last step is to have students sing the song without your help. And that last part is key. Don't sing with them. You want them to be independent rather than split-second imitating you. Also, not singing with them allows you to listen and assess whether they've got the song down and are ready to do something with it, or whether they need some remediation. Now, for these last two steps, having the students silently audiate and having them sing the song without you, you need to ensure that the students start together in the appropriate context. So that's the purpose of that preparatory sequence I sang. When I went, bum, 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 ready, sing. When you sing that little sequence, it gives the students the tonal context, the rhythmic context, including the tempo, and it also gives them the starting pitch of the song. Notice I sang the final instruction, ready, sing, on the starting pitch of the song. Ya-da-da-da-dum-bum. For the penultimate step, I might sing, bum, 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 audiate, or bum, 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 think it in your head. But you want to make sure you give the students some kind of vocal cue on those last two steps so that they begin the song together and in the proper meter, tempo, tonality, key, and with the proper starting pitch. So that's the process for teaching a tune by rote. If your students were at the verbal association level of learning in the tonality or meter of the song, you could add verbal association to this process. You could use solfege for the resting tone and label the tonality, or you could use rhythm syllables for the macrobeat and microbeat and label the meter. The way that I modeled the process would be appropriate for the oral level of learning in major tonality and duple meter. Before we move on, just a couple quick tips. One is that you may find it helpful to tell the students at the beginning of the process that you will be asking them to sing this brand new song in a few minutes, so they should listen carefully. I found that this helps students stay focused. Otherwise, it's easy for the steps to sort of wash over them and they can kind of half tune out, and then they don't really remember the song at the end of the process. So giving them a heads up that you'll be asking them to sing it in a few minutes can help keep them focused and on their toes. Finally, another tip is to not talk a lot between the steps. The whole point of this process is to get the song in students' audiation, and each time they hear it, they start to audiate it more and more. So you don't want to bring that to a screeching halt by stopping in between steps to talk for a long time and make them forget the song. So keep verbal instructions to a minimum. All right, let's get back to the tune. Let's sing it again and get it back in our audiation. Bum, 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 ready, sing. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Yum-ba-da-dum, bum, bum. Now let's do a little tonal pattern echoing. Repeat after me. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum. Now, let's see if you can make up a different pattern from me. I'll sing a pattern on bum, and your job is to sing back a different pattern on bum. It can have 2, 3, or 4 pitches. If you're not sure what to do, you could do mine backwards. So if I went bum, 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 you could go bum, bum, bum. Or you could start where I end. If I went bum, 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 you could go bum, bum. Or you could add something onto mine. If I went bum, bum, you could go bum, bum, bum. Or you could take something off of mine. If I went bum, 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 you could do bum, bum, bum. Or you could be totally different. If I went bum, 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 you could go bum, bum. Let's try it. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Notice I gave a little extra think time before I gave you that breath cue so that you would be prepared to make up your own pattern. Okay, so you were just creating tonal patterns. Ideally, you would have many more opportunities to echo tonal patterns in the given context before being asked to create in order to build that broad, rich pattern vocabulary to draw from. So if you notice your students are really struggling to create tonal patterns, they probably need more time to hear patterns, echo patterns, hear and sing songs in that tonality, and also to audiate and sing the resting tone in that tonality. Now, it's normal to struggle a little with creating patterns, especially initially, and that's because creating patterns is part of inference learning. Remember back in episode 9, I gave an overview of Gordon's skill learning sequence, which is comprised of two kinds of learning: discrimination learning, where the teacher's always modeling the appropriate response for the students, and inference learning, where the students are teaching themselves or coming up with new musical material. So it's normal for students to be a little shaky when they start out with inference learning, like creating and improvising. One thing that I find helps is to give them strategies like I modeled for you. Notice when I asked you to sing back a different pattern, I modeled a bunch of ways that you could respond. Now, you don't have to do that, but I find it helpful at first. Not only does modeling these different strategies give the students a little guidance, but it also gives them an opportunity to get a few more patterns into their listening vocabulary to draw from. By the way, I talked about the basics of pattern instruction back in episode 8, so you can check that one out if you're looking for more insight on why pattern instruction is so important and how to get started with pattern instruction. Also, quick side note, I had a listener comment on a post in the Everyday Musicality podcast Facebook page asking what the difference was between creating and improvising. They had noticed that in the previous episode, I made it a point to use these two terms separately. The difference between creating and improvising is whether there are external restrictions present. If someone tells you to make up something within a certain function or tonality or meter, that's improvisation. There are external restrictions. Notice that when we were making up patterns a minute ago, all I asked you to do was to sing something different from me. So that was a creating activity. I didn't specifically ask you to sing in major tonality or to sing major tonic or dominant functions. If I had, that would have been improvising. Instead, I just established the context and asked you to simply sing something different from what I was doing. Now, yes, there was a tonal context present, but I didn't explicitly give you external restrictions of tonality or pattern function. You had to sense that for yourself. And if you didn't, that would be okay. Any response is acceptable in creating. Now, it's great if students do sing something in the proper context or sing a pattern using the same function as you, but if they do, they are imposing those restrictions on themselves through their audiation. You didn't tell them to do that. So this is why what we just did was creativity rather than improvisation. Next, let's add some harmony to our tune. We're going to add the chord roots, or also called the bass line. Some people refer to it as the root melody because they think it makes it sound more interesting or more important that way, but I've never had a kid complain about singing chord roots. So let's go through a process for how you can teach students to sing chord roots to a tune by rote. Let's get that tune back in our heads. Let's sing through it. Bum, bum, bum. Ready, sing. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Now your job is to sing the tune, and I'm going to add a new part, so don't let me mess you up. Bum, 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 you do the song. Bum, 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 bum. While you were singing the tune, I was singing the chord roots to the tune. They go like this. Bum, 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 bum. That's it. Try it with me. Bum, 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 bum. again. Bum, 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 bum. Now let's see if you can sing those chord roots while I sing the song. Bum, 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 ready, sing. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Finally, you get to choose which part you want to sing, the melody, ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, or the chord roots, bum, 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 bum. Did you pick one? Great. Bum, 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 here we go. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ya-da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Okay. For that last step, singing both parts at the same time, if you were students all in a room together, I would have split you into two groups and had one half sing the melody while the other half sings the chord roots, and then switch. So this is a process you can use to teach chord roots by rote. Once your students know the tune, ask them to sing it while you model singing the chord roots along with them. This lets the students experience both parts and hear how the chord roots fit with the melody so that they can begin audiating the parts together. Next, you isolate the chord roots, model just the chord roots without the song, and invite students to try singing them. Once they've got it, you can ask them to sing the chord roots while you add the tune. If they've got that, then you can have the students sing the melody and chord roots in two groups, with half of them singing the melody and the other half singing the chord roots, and then switching parts. Let's try one more thing before we wrap up today. First, let's do a quick bit of rhythm pattern echoing. Ba, 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 ba. Repeat after me. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Now, let's see if you can make up a different pattern from me. I'll chant a pattern on ba, and your job is to chant back a different pattern on ba. Let's try it. Ready and be different from me. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. And finally, let's combine creating rhythm patterns with our chord roots. We're going to add rhythms to our chord roots, and just to make it a little more fun, I'm also going to add some accompaniment. So remember, our chord roots were bum, 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 bum. So now, instead of singing each pitch just once, we can add any rhythms we want, like this. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, bum, 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 ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum. Give that a try. Ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, ba. One more time. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. Cool! That is so much fun. We're going to be doing a lot more with improvisation in the next episode, but that's how we can get started with our students, teaching tunes by rote, helping students audiate the tonality and meter of the tunes by singing resting tone and moving to macrobeat and microbeat, giving students opportunities to echo tonal patterns and rhythm patterns in the tonality and meter of the tune to build a vocabulary of patterns they can pull from when improvising, and adding bass lines to tunes to help students start audiating harmonic progressions. In addition to more improvising in the next episode, I'll also walk you through what you'll find in the resource Developing Musicianship Through Improvisation. If you'd like to win a free copy of this fantastic resource from sponsor GIA Publications, here's what you'll do. In honor of our new podcast sponsor, the Gordon Institute for Music Learning, you're going to go to the GIML website, www.giml.org, and click on Chapters, and identify which is the closest chapter to where you live. Then, just email me at everydaymusicality@gmail.com and tell me the name of that GIML chapter. Remember, you don't have to be a GIML member to win, but if you are a GIML member, don't forget to mention that in your email and I'll give you a bonus entry. I'll be announcing the winner in the February 23rd episode, so you have until February 16th to enter. In the meantime, if you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, please get in touch. You can email me or send me a voice memo at everydaymusicality@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and let's keep musicking every day.